Let's go.
Bong bong.
Bong, bong. The welcome bong bong.
The welcome
Welcome
back.
back.
Bong bong. We are back at it like a heart attack. We are back. The Bodycast has returned. All of the Bodycast fans rejoice.
Yeah.
We are.
I can hear the screams and everyone very excited outside.
Yeah. Well, it's a very popular show. This is the Bodycast, the official podcast for the subreddit r/rap battles. I'm copacetic. With me today is always the GOAT.
Pathogenic. Took some time off.
You gotta take the rust off. Boy howdy, did we ever take some time off. As you guys know, Pathogenic was over in merry old England, and he was jousting the knights and lawn bowling. I don't know what the fuck they do over there. He's like
football.
The football, playing the football. Did you end up getting some football in there? Pick it up and just the old pigskin.
Yeah, I ran onto the pitch and just tackled these dudes. They were not impressed.
Not happy about that.
They were like, I don't think this is how we play that here.
But it is a part of the immigration procedure. So if you want to become English, you have to do that. I heard. Yeah. And then went over and caught a body, beat up this poor Irish child who's actually really dope, friend of the show now. Former enemy of the show.
Shout out to Visual. He's a great dude.
Shout out to Viz.
Really great first round. I beat him for the next two, though. Very clearly.
There we go. And there it is. That's the recap. And we're glad that he is back home with us in Canada. Obviously, the stronger of the two nations.
With that being said, is concerned. Wasn't just me, because when I came back, then our other host went across the pond as well. Did you have a little screen on your plane that was showing you the map of where you were going?
Yeah.
Did you look at all the seas?
There's so many seas.
I was studying the seas.
Look at all these
when we came back on the show, I'd be like, yeah, I passed this sea and this.
I had no idea there were so many seas. It's such an educational program we have. You just learn so much.
Crazy.
What I know could fill a very sizable book. Anyways,
he went to Italy.
I went to Italy. I don't know if I like when I say that.
That's how you say his name.
It's really weird, copacetic, because it doesn't end in a vowel, so it's very foreign to them.
Yes.
But yeah, I did go to England for the wedding of a good friend, and I did go to England. Did I say England?
Yes.
I went to Italy. Done a little dip in Roma and San Benedetto and Firenze, and I saw the things, saw the arts, saw the wines, and just ate bread and cheese every day for every meal.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Nothing wrong with that.
Amazing. So definitely
deli meat and bread and cheese.
No battle rap there. No battle rap in Italy yet.
We'll have to talk to Joey and Pepe about that.
I'm sure what's going on here, guys? Oldest civilization in the history of mankind. No English-speaking battle rap league that I know of. So step it up, Italy. Happy to be back in the civilized first world country of Canada with like 4 or 5 battle rap leagues. Like that's how you measure the success of a country. It's the index. r/battles is of course the largest online forum for the international culture of battle rap You can find us on Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, and on the official Discord server in the links below. It's the only place for fans to go for battle rap news from around the globe. At some point, I'll have that memorized.
One day.
What we do, believe it or not. Boy, howdy. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Sorry about the, the little break. I think we're taking a little break, but it was more than just the battling and the traveling and the everything. It was sort of like, this is the first, year of the Bodycast. And I think that there are a lot of different things that, we're doing behind the scenes to improve and to make the experience better for the fans, as well as promoting on online and stuff like that. And to really just, give it the juice, give it our best go.
Yeah. And once you have the juice, there's something that you got to do with said juice.
That's only for the elite. Everybody who's not elite, don't participate in this. You can't. You're not allowed to participate in this.
We're not talking Five Alive juice. We're talking about high-end Italian juice.
We're talking like Michael Jordan
special
stuff. This is the shit. Part of my language. But if you were here and you were like cool with your peers, you might grab a glass right now and join us for the International Community Cheers. Cheers.
It's slightly awkward. Feels like we haven't been here to do that for years.
Yeah, we'll definitely pick that up, but still feels good. It feels really great to be back, and like genuinely good to see you again, and good to be kicking it again.
Yes,
I think today's going to be a great show, but definitely a little less international. Obviously, there was a small event happened yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, like if you wanted to talk about it, I guess we could.
Sure.
I didn't really want to give too much coverage to it, but
I was going to do the whole episode on Frost and Briggsy, but Smack decided, oh, hey, why don't I just fucking throw out a little Summer Madness?
Yeah.
In the fall. Nobody cares.
Yeah. The official first day of fall was, I think, like 3-4 days ago.
Nobody cares.
So, I mean,
it's funny, but it's like, great card, first of all.
Well, and you know what? The thing about the card was there was some spots on it that I was thinking, I don't know about that.
Oh
but it turned like Chess and Shug.
Okay.
I looked at that and kind of was like, I don't know.
Just because of what Chess has done this year?
Well, that and because I didn't know how Shug's style would compare with Chess's style. It seems like a very large clash.
Sure.
And obviously, Shug has been away from a big stage for a long time, so I guess that shouldn't have been taken lightly. But I was kind of weary about that. I was weary about JC and Surf too. That one,
interesting.
Once we get into it, we'll talk about it a little more, I'm sure.
But we will talk about it.
But that ended up playing out how I expected it to. But thankfully, Surf was good enough to not have it be a terrible battle, in my opinion.
Wow, I feel like we're gonna have a lot of fun picking this apart. But
I think so too.
On the, outside looking in before the event starts, we're looking at this card and thinking, here's maybe the first card this year that the URLs put together that seems like top to bottom, these are all good matches. Matches that you want to see, like really good heavy hitters with, equivalent names. It feels like this year they've been throwing a lot of events that were like, what, head scratchers and lots of question marks. And then finally, this one's just like, okay, we got the big names.
The big names that haven't been on a card like immediately. We're like, we didn't see Shug, Surf, and Fonz last week on a card.
Right.
And now we're seeing them again this week on a card type deal. It's been a little while, so.
Yeah, and appropriate for the build up for Summer Madness. You know, a lot of people, I mean, justifiably, we're talking the whole night about, oh, does this feel like Summer Madness? Does this feel like a Summer Madness? Does it have the vibe of a Summer Madness? But I think that they set themselves up for success. I know there's probably a lot of shit that happened behind the scenes, but as far as the releasing of the card and the matchups that they're giving us, it feels like totally is a legitimate shot at being an amazing event.
Yep.
That'll be up for debate, obviously, but I think that, you know, regardless of what happened in the battles, it was a fun night.
Yeah. I'd say it's one of those ones that had enough to talk about it afterwards. People are still talking about it on Twitter right now.
So. It's not like talking about how bad it was, like, which was sort of the theme, was like, oh, kind of let down. This card was sort of middling, and it ended up not being good.
Yep.
This was like, this got a lot of meat to it, and I had a lot of fun. I watched with Ellipsis and Redshirt Mike, and just had a great night. Fuck, sorry. Had a great night watching Battlerap for 8 hours straight, which is quite a test to any heterosexual relationship.
And I think, you know, the great thing about the event in totality is that anytime there might have been something that was taking the mood down, something else happened that brought it up immediately. Sure. Or things that could have brought it down were turned in a great, funny way for the fans to be like, yeah, this is great.
It's great. It's honestly just pure entertainment. Exactly. It was just, but let's dive in. Let's start at the beginning of the show and make our way through.
Well, and with that being said, I know we could talk about it when it happened in regard to the event, but I feel like we should say it at the beginning because it's the forefront, and probably the most important thing is long live Pat Stay, and salute to URL for doing that tribute. It was a great, you know, kind of memorial way for him to be a part of that. So
how can you not feel something? Like, I'm not going to say that I cried, but I was like, the thought was there. Like, it was like, this is really moving. This is extremely sad.
Yeah.
This is really heartbreaking. It's really heavy. And just to see everybody talking about him and to see those clips again, it was just like, it's just such a head scratcher, you know? I think we stopped doing the Bodycast right when the news came out.
Yeah.
So we haven't really talked about that. But, you know, like, I mean, Ellipsis was telling me, like, he found out and he was like, how? Like, how?
Yeah.
Like, you know, Pathogenic can shake off a fucking train. Like, and Pat Stay is 2 Pathogenics. Yeah. Like, what? Like, how does that even...
Like, yeah, I mean, it's not something to get into on the Bodycast. It's like, I don't want to get too heavy into it, but I don't know what else to call it, but it's almost felt like survivor's guilt since it's happened. We obviously weren't part of the same incident, but you know, getting hit by a train and dying and fighting and getting, you know, being able to come back. And I wake up on the Sunday there, and it's not a put your thoughts out and think about Pat and, you know, he's fighting right now in the hospital type deal. It's you're finding out the news that he's gone immediately.
Yeah.
And I, you know, it's one of those, like, why did I get that chance and Pat didn't? Like, he is a bigger person in this culture and he deserves to be that more than I ever did. So it's been a weird time for me, you know, bringing the accident back and all that kind of stuff in, and, you know, wishing that, you know, it was.
Sure. I think those are just natural thoughts as a human being. You got to have those thoughts, and to know that, you know, really the truth of it is, you know, Pat is here with us in all of our hearts. He's his energy signature, you know, as far as he's with us, he's here. You know what he would say to you, you know, how important you are, how special you are, and how much it means to be influenced by him and carry him in our hearts. as we move forward, as we honor his legacy and honor his contributions, by just being a little more sucker free. And I just, I never had a bad interaction with the guy, and I think that that's the majority opinion. And so, I wouldn't even begin to um, profess to know the correct way to move on from this, but my own shit is I'm just trying to you know, um, keep him close, keep him in our thoughts, and um, have it be an inspiration. You know, what he and Bender, were able to do for battle rap, for our culture, for everybody, for us as people inside and out of the ring is just like it's so it's such a guiding light that has to be where our focus is going forward. It's like, these guys, they gave to us. They gave to us so much.
Salute to URL for doing that. It was special.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, really really crazy stuff. Damn, I don't know how we transition out of that.
Yeah.
Like, that's the legend. Rest in peace. Hold them in your thoughts. Let's just do this better. Let's battle rap better. Let's battle rap harder. Let's be good human beings better, harder. Let's just try and live up to the example that he set on a regular basis.
And so we get into Summer Madness 12.
Okay, here it is. Summer Madness 12. So there was a secret battle that was supposed to be announced, and everybody was saying Cassidy versus Freeway.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if the event could have pulled out of that one.
Yeah, right. That would have been quite a nosedive. But ended up throwing Crucible battlers out there, which is really cool and interesting choice. I think that Crucible has started to develop the same thing that GZ had, where it was like, you're a Crucible battler.
Yeah.
It's going to start to be like the PGs, or it's going to be a disparaging thing. You're not main stage, you're a Crucible. So already you set the tone of, hey, these guys are kind of new.
Yeah.
Which is tough psychologically for fans to get around, because they're thinking, yes, Summer Madness, like the best in the world, and this is going to be what? Sorry, new guys? Guys
yeah.
who make truck? Oh, shit.
Well, and kind of an odd choice in my opinion, because how they've been doing the tournaments for the last little while was you do the tournament, the final of the tournament, the two best guys out of the tournament get the opening slot on Gnome or on Summer Madness or on something like that.
That makes sense.
It was kind of an odd choice for me that we're talking about Crucible Phase 3, middle of the gauntlet of the tournament, just a random battle out of the 6 or 7 other ones that are supposed to happen for the next phase of the Crucible is opening up Summer Madness. So it was just kind of an odd decision process.
True. It felt strategic because, like, I don't know, maybe if you have a really, really great 2 names, Crucible level, whatever level, I don't know. It's like, it was sort of a gamble. And I was thinking about it, talking to Ellipsis about it. Like, maybe it's, this is your sound check. This is making sure that you have all the video, everything's working properly. Definitely there were some mic issues. They figured that out, how they want to record it. And also to, I don't know, there might be some psychological aspect to having a warm-up battle be people you don't know, so you can sort of get all of the, the buzz and the hype and the conversation going about, something that maybe isn't at the highest level. So if people have a bunch of, vitriol or a bunch of shit that they want to get off their chest, here's one battle, a little catharsis, get your shit out, get the buzz started, get the ball rolling before we get into the real summer madness.
Yeah. And that it makes complete sense in theory.
Right? Yeah.
The thing I still get hung up on is the like middle of the Crucible type deal, right? Like back when King of the Dot was doing the GZ tournament, imagine if one battle from the middle of the GZ tournament ended up on Blackout.
Yeah.
It'd kind of be like,
yeah.
Why put? Because then the other guys in the Crucible are going, well, why didn't we get to be on?
Because Zed the Dropout is signed by DNA. I don't know what that means, but he's like, DNA is my manager. I was talking to him on Facebook. It's like, DNA is my manager. I said, oh. And then DNA is right behind him. So it's like, okay, we know that's a thing. Okay. But there's probably a little bit of who do you know? And like that hasn't ever been a thing in battle rap before.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, I think what your point is valid. The Crucible phases are like difficult for me to follow. Maybe am I an idiot? Maybe. But
I don't even think that the first Crucible there's a winner out of it.
Was there like nobody knows the format or structure? It's just that there's a bunch of fucking battles happening all over the United States with battlers that you've never fucking heard of before. Some of who are friends of the show. Shouts out to those guys. And who knows where it's going to go? There's, the thing about GZ was there's a light at the end of the tunnel, especially PGs. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. If you have some sort of system that's going to develop names and talent, you got to dangle the carrot. If there's no dangled carrot, then the whole thing falls apart. So, yeah, weird. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. I didn't think it was a terrible battle. Z the Dropout, or Zed the Dropout, as we would say in Canada.
Yeah, depending on what side of the border you're on.
Right? Zed the Dropout versus Souffleur Soul.
I think the reason why the name is difficult now is because I'm pretty sure that URL didn't put how he actually
Solar Flare. They call him Solar Flare, which is kind of a cooler name. I don't know. I don't know which is better, right? Like that sucks. Oh, we typoed your shit, but do you want to keep it? Because
so it's like he's like, that's not what my name is. My name is this, but we all saw it for the first time. I'd never seen him before, so that's how I know him now. And so I couldn't even tell you which one's the real name.
Soul the Flare. That's fire. I like it. I super fun with it. I might change my name. Fuck it.
Cope the Flare.
So Flare Soul versus Soul the Flare. Soul's a Flare. Let's go. I think he won. I think that was the consensus too, is that people just weren't ready for Z the Dropout. Because okay, here's the thing. You're going to pull two random Crucible guys out and for a battle, whatever one of them knows DNA, no problem. Whatever. I'm sure all the guys in the Crucible have some level of talent, obviously, for them to be selected enough to be able to perform on any stage and do some shit. But Z the Dropout has a very unusual image that it was like, whoa, what am I gotta take all this in. Here's a whitish Middle Eastern, shorter, wider Mike P with long Fabio hair and what do we do? And a life jacket. It's like whoa, I have to process all of the things that I'm seeing right now.
And keep in mind, this is the second time that the URL crowd is seeing him because he stepped in as Jesus in Charlie Clip's battle against Yoshi G. Clips brought him out on stage. He was dressed up as Jesus. So now the crowd is going, hey, that's that guy that was Jesus that one time. And now in their head, now they're like, okay, so Jesus and now life jacket. Now, he's actually rapping and not just, playing the part of Jesus. It's a lot to take in.
Totally. Not to mention he's impatient because, you're in fucking summer madness. He's got all this energy, this nervous energy that he's channeling into performance energy, and the mics aren't ready. So he's like, rah, getting the crowd into it, and the mic's not picking it up. And they're like, and it's this weird tension between, is it time for me to rap, or do we need to do technical things still? And that uneasiness is like feeding into his raps. We can't really hear because the technical shit still isn't figured out. So you're not getting the reaction you are, or maybe you are, but you aren't hearing it because the crowd isn't mic'd, or like there's so much confusion. And what is he wearing? And my God, it's this fucking beautiful, really well shampooed hair that's getting in the way of everything. Like, there was it was a lot. Cacophony. It was
a start. It was a great start.
Lots of
shout out Sythe Dropout with that being said, because he's a great dude and he's a great guy.
Hey, it worked, right? I mean,
yeah.
I think that's the daylight technique is really, you got everybody talking about it. He was slapping the floor, he was fucking getting the crowd going. I don't know. I thought
imagine that. Like, we're talking about a guy who can now say that he battled on Summer Madness. Like, you can't take that away from him now.
You can't take that away from him. That's very
one
true.
Of those things.
That's just one of those things. You never know what's going to happen. I was on World Domination, the GZ day, but I was on World Domination, and that's just the facts of life. So yeah. Anyways, check out both of those guys. It's just a little one rounder, but I think if it was a strategic battle, like to just throw on there to say, hey, we're gonna fucking test our shit, make sure we're all ready to go, and distract you with these two battles you've never heard of, so all you haters can get your fucking hate out online. Maybe a successful strategy.
Yeah.
But it means that you have less energy going into the first battle, which may or may not have paid off. I'm not sure. It was sort of a weird one. The first battle being Danny Myers versus Fonz.
Yeah.
They just went right into it.
It was I don't know. I didn't even catch the entirety of this battle. I only caught like the first round of each of them.
Sure. But then super underwhelming. I mean,
did it get better?
No, not particularly. I think Danny got better. But the thing was, it's such a unique talent stack you need to be able to perform on that stage. It's, when you talk about small rooms and the different stages and the different levels of pressure and the different crowds and where the crowd is geographically as well, which we'll get into. Like Danny Myers has all of the tools to be able to rock that shit. But it was so just not impactful in the first round. It was so unlike him to just be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And why it's not hitting? And like everybody was saying, at least on Twitter, that's where we are, he's left the door wide open. Like if Fonz comes in punching and just having fun,
yeah,
he's gonna fucking steamroll Danny, which is crazy to think about. Danny Myers not being able to perform at that level.
Yeah.
But that's what it was. It was like lackluster. There was no really cool, crazy wordplay. It felt like a lot of forced stuff. Felt like a lot of like just average shit.
Not Summer Madness quality.
Man, which is wild.
I think that's Born Legacy quality.
Right. It's tough for everybody to do, I'm sure. Because like, Fonz had to come back and he Danny left the door open, and I don't know if Fonz walked through it.
No. It was almost like, if we're going with this analogy, it was almost like Danny left the door open and Fonz was like, you're trying to trick me. I'm not walking through that door.
Oh, you got to walk through that door.
And it was like, oh man.
Through that door. And the way to do it is to get to the crowd, because the crowd was a living, breathing part of the event, and you needed to get to them. So what happened in the subsequent rounds is Danny started flipping because he went first. He didn't have that opportunity, so it's kind of more difficult for him to build his momentum. But in the second and the third, he's talking about shit that Fonz said and flipping it, and it is completely mid. It is not even remotely complex or hard hitting, but the freestyle aspect of it connects instantly with the crowd. You took something that they just heard and you flipped it. It doesn't matter how well you flipped it, you executed, and they loved it. And instantly they gave him a bunch of energy. And his second and third were a lot better because he was able to incorporate the freestyle element, the impromptu, sort of improv aspect of things, really get to the crowd.
Yeah, it's like a game of football, and Danny's team was winning the game just by hitting field goals. We're talking 3 points. If you imagine a whole game of that, it would be boring as shit.
Yeah.
But then the second and third round, you're saying we were talking about a couple of touchdown throws, maybe like 20 yards. Not impressive, but more exciting than a field goal. So everyone's like,
and Fonz is doing the ground game. He's just running the ball over and over again, and it's not working. And you're like, you have to be more versatile because Danny's beating you with the fucking worst material right now. He's fucking just kicking it over your head, and you got nothing for it.
Yeah.
So, kind of disappointing because expected Danny to be on Summer Madness to really spaz out, and expected more from Fonz too. Last time I saw him, he was just fucking going crazy. And his style specifically works for that crowd. Like, all we want to do is hear cool punches. Like, man, everybody, like, I feel like that was the theme of the night, is like, say cool shit and the fans will respond. Daylight was talking about it too. He's like, the crowd's not wrong. They're just tired of hearing this fucking mid bullshit. They're just tired of hearing nothing.
And we're talking about, a situation again, and we've talked about this time after time, where it feels like we've seen this wordplay, these punches before. Sure. I don't know who's been saying them. I couldn't give you names, but I'll listen to these rounds and I'll be like, I've heard that.
It's just, it's almost like the equalizer for this level stage is performance won't sell bad bars. His performance can get you all the way to Summer Madness, but you have to be saying some shit and performing.
Yeah.
Stage. Anyways, well, fuck this battle because fuck it. Because there were better battles. But shouts out to Danny Myers, friend of the show. And
hey, stop licking your paw.
Stop licking your paw, bud.
Yeah.
Unless you want to. I don't know. I'm not your boss. Do you want? You want to make a cameo? Little guy. See, you have to be watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, you're not going to see this.
Okay.
Up. Up,
all the way.
The best. Oh, look at our viewers jumped 1,000%. Hi, pup.
Look at that. Who's talking?
Good one. What a good one.
That's Steve Irwin. Leave Steve Irwin alone. All right, go lay down.
That's a good dog. The dog feels like it's got a lot of energy. It does a lot of running.
Yep.
Yeah, fair
enough. He does.
Next battle was
it the other secret?
Oh, yeah, shit. They did do the second secret battle, which was great because it felt really spontaneous. And like they brought Hollow and Aver out, and they were just sort of shit talking, and they're like, we got to finish this up. And Smack's like, let's do it right now. And they're like, yeah, let's do it right now. And they're like, no, let's do it right now. And everybody's like, really? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
They fucking mic'd him up and did a little one-rounder.
Yeah. What a great way to do that. Right? So, like that's a very well-written TV show, almost like intro to doing a battle, and it paid off, in my opinion. I thought it was really cool. I don't know if they'll keep that in when they throw it on the app, but it'd be cool to have that as a part of the intro too on the app itself.
Yeah. And it wouldn't have worked if they hadn't done that a bunch of times previous, where they just bring out some battlers and be like, yo, these guys are going to battle each other. And then they go off stage. Because they have a habit of doing that, it was like, no, they're really going to fucking rap. That's crazy. Like we got a hollow battle just for free, just like that.
Yeah.
Awesome. You notice how I phrased that? We got a hollow battle. Yo, dope.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because the consensus is
whatever.
Oh, a verb.
Whatever. We got a hollow battle. But Verb was not terrible. He was not super boring. I don't find him to be extremely boring, as I normally do, or nonsensical and crazy, as I normally do. He was like rapping, and I liked it. And to see Hollow wearing the full suit sort of felt like tribute to Pat Stay. Everybody was talking about that, which was dope because they really, just put on this little one-rounder for the culture, and it felt very very authentic.
I would say that it was the best that either of them has been in a long time. I haven't been very impressed with Hollow even. Like, he's had little spots of his old self, but I felt like this was great. And I don't know,
nailed it.
This is one of those things where it's like, maybe that's why one-rounders are still good to do every once in a while. Because Verb has these long, nonsensical rounds with the occasional thing that's like, oh yeah, that's not bad, and there's massive amounts of filler. And for the last little bit, same thing with Hollow. And it's like, now you guys have this opportunity where you got one round, just put all the good stuff in there instead of the filler.
Saves machine
and do that. You don't have to fill 3 rounds of stuff. Just fill 1 round with all the good stuff. And that's how it felt to me, like watching it.
I always wonder how you can have such a disconnect between what the audience wants to hear and what you think is dope. And there's just so much, like when you say filler, like guaranteed these guys are going over their shit beforehand thinking, this is crazy. And then this part comes in. Oh, this is crazy. And then this part comes in. And it's like, no, not really. Who out there gives you like, who will give you 3 rounds every time? I think, like O'Shea, Shuffle T,
Don't even get me started on O'Shea, man.
Right?
His return.
Oh yeah, right. I can't even imagine. That's a special treat, being able to see him live. He's like one of my goats for real, all time. But like, there are battlers out there who understand what's funny or what hits or how to do it. And yeah, there was just sort of like a disconnect sometimes in these top tiers, but both of them did really well. Great little one-rounder. And apparently, we're getting some info from the CRB event that happened, and an absolute shocker.
Who would have guessed?
Franchise, one of the best in Canada, would beat Po Rich, who is the champ of CRB. Does that make
No, not the champ of CRB.
It's not the champ anymore. Sorry, I don't know anymore. I don't know what I'm talking about. And that Rich would chalk for 3 rounds.
2 rounds.
For 2 rounds.
Oh.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that against Franchise. But we were talking about, Danny leaving the door open for Fonz. This is one of those situations where Rich left the door open for Franchise, and that's the guy who is going to run through the door and be like, yeah, this is my house now.
That's the juggernaut. So you don't even have to have a door.
No lagging.
Facts. So Franchise making a really good case for Battler of the Year in Canada.
Yep.
And we are going to have International Battler of the Year lists. Ooh, yeah, that's right. Here on the Bodycast, they will be announced. It will be compiled by our robot intern, the r/battlebot, r/rap battlebot. I don't know, we haven't figured out the name yet.
It's a robot.
And it's a robot.
Do whatever it wants.
Right. We can't be held accountable for these lists. It's technology. It's AI, really. It's not really anything that we... But Franchise is doing a great job and making a strong case for himself. So shouts out to him. Shouts out to CRB in their event. I hope it was super successful and everybody had an awesome time. We're getting mad updates right now. We'd love to cover CRB, but there's so many more Summer Madness battles we have to go over today.
And we technically neither of us have seen the CRB event. So
maybe next time.
On the list for Summer Madness, though.
Thank you.
If I'm not mistaken, this was the big shocker for me, kind of. Shug versus Chess.
Right.
Am I not mistaken?
No, you're correct. I was thinking about something else. But Shug versus Chess, an enormous disparity in size.
Yes. Who would have thought that Shug would have had a better outfit on for the battle than Chess would?
Let's talk about what really matters, right? This is the show about battle rap with some of the most knowledgeable and experienced battle rap people in the culture. And let's talk about what the battlers were wearing, because straight up and down, I thought, what was it? Friend of the show, Gas Buff, called Chess Twink the Demon.
Oh my God, no.
So funny.
That is hilarious.
And he was dressed uniquely. We'll say it like that.
Hey, man, it worked for daylight, but I don't know.
It looked like a little bit like a cartoon character, to be honest. His hat was very tall on his head, and he had great posture. He has incredible posture. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Chess has no back or neck problems, it feels like.
I saw somebody say that the distance between the top of Chess's hat brim and his chin was farther than the distance from his chin to the top of his underwear.
His belt buckle, for real.
And that is hilarious to me. Get your shirt out of your underwear. Why is it tucked into your underwear like that?
It's a onesie.
Tucked into your pants, different story.
I have no idea what that the creative implications were in choosing.
With that being said, for the young battlers watching, what you wear in your battle is important. It does play a role,
right? What you want to do is
in negative ways.
Go down to your costume shop, try and find something really obscure, like a mechanic or like a cowboy. Just try and find costumes that they're not using. So, and in contrast, I just want to say, Shug looks fucking great. Like, he looks like he lost a ton of weight, and he looks like a normal human being now, which is amazing.
Yeah, and he's got he looked like he was a man on a mission, is what it looked like to me. He was sharp.
Totally.
In his outfit, and what you wear reflects what you're about to do. And I felt like Shug was much more well put together than Chess was.
Holy shit. It was really an intimidating Shug, and this is like an intimidating Shug without all the extra weight. So he was, like you said, focused. He was super on point. He had 3 rounds. It was a pretty bad body bag.
Yeah.
But
who would have guessed that?
It's so weird because, like, just last year, Chess had Battle of the Year with Easy, and that was such a good battle. And I'm thinking, like, this guy he was writing at such a high level and performing like crazy, and it was just so intense and memorable. And it was just a far cry from the Chess that we were seeing. And then he had his stomach issues again.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, that first round ended up being like 12 minutes long.
Oh, man. And you hear Tay-Rock on the mic, and he's like, "Oh, it's all right. You're all right. Just don't hit my shoes." Like, just like, bro, that gotta get some Pepto. What the fuck? And
you're hearing that in between burps, because Chess be burping in that mic, and it's picking it up, and it's like, I can hear everything that you're doing. Even though you're running off stage, I can hear it all still.
It doesn't matter. We thought might be strategically advantageous to just projectile vomit. Just hit your opponent in the face. Just, just get an Exorcist style.
Reptile from Mortal Kombat.
Let it go. Let it go. Because that creates a moment that you're sort of in control of. Whereas, like, running off stage to, like, I don't know, I think I'm going to throw up for a whole round is, it's less entertaining, I would say.
Correct.
So, yeah, that's too bad because, I don't know,
it's one of those things where it played so well into Shug's favor, and his return onto the big stage. And we're talking about one of the best big stage battlers.
Yep.
This happens, and the energy is so down. And Shug said, "All right, here, let me pick it up." Yep. And the crowd was like, "Thank fuck."
Yeah.
Let's react to something. And Shook isn't the type of guy that's going to bury anything or hide anything in his lines. He's literally saying, here's the punch. It's crazy. React to it. And the crowd's like, thank fuck. Yes.
Totally.
And that's what this crowd was like.
The crowd is like a going on a date with a good-looking woman who agreed to go on a date with you. She wants you to do well. She wants you to be good. She's cheering for you. All you got to do is deliver.
Yeah. Don't overthink it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, not much to talk about there. Great battle.
Salute to Suge.
Yeah.
I think he's like, I think this is 330s in a row.
Yeah. He's
on
really
his return back. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy. Good for him.
Yeah. I expect we'll see his name at the top of cards coming forward, going forward. The next battle was.
This is the one I can't remember. I think it was Rock and Swamp, wasn't it? Or was it Surf and JC? No, it was Rock and Swamp. Because Surf and JC happened and everyone was like, did we miss Easy and Cal?
Right. Okay.
It just hadn't happened yet because it was the main event. So they were like, why is it happening now?
What the fuck is this? Summer Mad. Yes, I spelled summer wrong. 12. Should have had this card up before, but we're just like, I'm getting super. Okay. We're flying by the seat of our pants. We're doing a great show here today. Boy, it's a great show. We know all the things. We have all the information. Okay, yeah. So here's the battle. Tay-Rock is giving Swamp a shot. Right?
A shot that Swamp has been looking for almost a year now. This has been talked about and teased as a battle that's happening, and everyone's like waiting for it.
And you think, like, why? Tay-Rock can have whoever he wants. Maybe, this is good for the league. This is good for URL. It's like a favor battle. Here's an up-and-comer. Teach them a bunch of shit about how to be on the big stage because I'm fucking Tay-Rock. And Swamp is the kind of person who you gamble on. Like, I think, man, entirely possible that Swamp, he's got a real cool, interesting style. He's got some haymakers, some room shakers. He could really do well in this format. Let's test him out. So I think it was sort of like a gamble situation. But to be clear, the narrative is Tay-Rock is giving him a shot.
Yep.
So I don't know how much of this you saw, but
I saw the first 2 rounds for both.
Okay. So like the first round, and it was the same thing with Sue Surf, but we'll get into it. It's like when you go first, if you're not building energy with the crowd, you're building energy for your opponent.
Yes.
If you're
that is a great way of saying it.
Thank you. Because Swamp is doing okay, but it's not really the best stuff, the stuff that you're really expecting from him on this level of card. It was the same thing with Danny Myers. You just sort of like, you need something really big. For this stage, you need something to say something really fucking cool. And he was just sort of like meeting the expectations. There was nothing beyond that. And you see Tay-Rock's reaction to that is like, if you're not fucking building that up, then all he has to do is say Ayo at the beginning of his round, and people will know that it's on, and then you're fucked.
Yep.
So that's pretty much how it was. I don't know, for me. This is
an event of leaving doors open and what battlers do when the doors are open. That is the biggest lesson taken from this, because Swamp left the door open and Rock said, I'm not just going to go through it. I'm going to kick it down on my way through.
Yeah.
And he got out to a monstrous lead after the first.
Huge.
And then Swamp has his second. And at that moment, I'm going, ooh, this is looking bad for old Swamp. Because he's in for a rough night.
Sometimes you can take that energy that your opponent creates for you as well and like keep it going in your round. And he's got a hometown advantage. I don't want to say hometown advantage, but
I would.
Yeah, he's got hometown advantage. He should know this crowd. He should know how to manipulate them. But yeah, just the dominance of Tay-Rock's first was just so strong that it.
And so, coincidentally, about knowing home crowds, this is where the fun happens in the second round, because once again, Swamp left the door wide open, and Rock said, "Yeah, I'm going through a door, but I'm going through this door over here." And the crowd was like, "Yeah, no, we don't want you to go through that door, though.
That door's a brick wall.
That's a bad door." And Rock was like, "I'm going through it. Fuck what y'all say."
I'm pretty sure it's his door.
I'm pretty sure I'm fucking going through that door.
That's a wall, bro. You can't go through that door. There is no door handle.
And what Nate is saying, I agree with. I agree with this, because when you think about it, this is in the room versus in the world of battle rap type situation. In that room, you're now discrediting the entire group of people. They're not going to give you love at this point in time, and it's kind of like, oh man.
Let's break it down, because some people may not know what we're talking about, and I think that there's a selected few battlers who can insult the crowd, who can insult the home turf and get away with it. I think O'Shea is one of them. I don't know anybody else, but there is a way to do it where you come in and you ingratiate yourself with a little friendly ribbon. Attacking people for eating raccoon meat normally might be a safe play. Very few places in the world where you might get a negative reaction for that angle.
Yeah.
This was one of those places.
This is one of those places. It's one of those situations where this battle happens literally anywhere else, and the crowd is completely with Rock. He's like, no, I'm going through that door. And the crowd's like, please go through that fucking door. Kick that one down. We want to hear you talk shit about him eating raccoon. That's fucked.
This is our local delicacy.
This crowd was like, look, you don't understand how important to our culture in this area that is.
The culinary history behind and significance behind trash pandas.
Yeah.
That was a hard no for them.
That was a hard no for the crowd. And so now you built all this energy up for Swamp now again too.
And you can't, his personality won't get away from it, because it's so I mean, in my mind, reprehensible. Not reprehensible. Maybe that's the wrong word. That's a little harsh. But it's incomprehensible to imagine that there are people out there who would prefer or defend raccoon meat. So he is backed into a corner where he's saying, no, actually, I'm right, and you people are all disgusting. He's doubling down.
Yes.
If you flipped it, if you were like, I don't know, Ellipsis had a cool way to flip it. He posted online. It's always easier when we're chilling on the couch.
I saw Rivers put something up too and said if Rock, all he has to say, Rock says something about raccoon newt, and that everyone's like, that's hilarious. He just takes the thing that Swamp's famous for and puts raccoon in front of it because it works. Boom.
But he didn't. He said, no, I'm pretty sure this is a door.
Yeah.
And this is
not only am I pretty sure this is a door, you guys are all fucked for thinking it's not a door.
Yeah.
And that's another, that's kind of a Sioux Surf thing, in all honesty. Surf is very famous for telling the crowd to shut up. This is I'm doing what I'm doing, and you're gonna respect it no matter where I am type situation. Yeah. And Rock was like, let me try that out.
That's a dangerous path to tread.
Yes.
Because here's the thing, is that's sort of funny a little bit, but it submarined his entire round. And you were just, people were laughing so much about the situation that they weren't really paying attention to what he was saying, I think, personally. And I think also the response from the crowd was so significant that Rock's maybe was like picked up his pace a little bit. He was maybe not he didn't feel like in the pocket as much. He felt like he was just yelling his bars out and like, you know, trying to get some sort of traction on this fucking avalanche that he created.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, he started his third round and said, "You're a fucking you mow your lawn, smoke cigarettes, and eat raccoon meat." He tripled down. Like what?
Yeah.
And they fucking blocked him again.
Yeah.
You just neutralized your last 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Couldn't find a way to flip the fact that the crowd you're performing for loves to eat raccoon meat.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense. So if you're looking at it strategically, if you as a battler know for a fact that eating raccoon meat is weird and it's going to get reaction, yeah, splitting it up into 2 rounds, kind of solidifies 2 rounds for the win. But if you don't know that it actually is very important to the crowd and you've split it up and you didn't keep it all in his, like if he kept all of it in his second, maybe he still wins the third.
Maybe he wins the third.
And totally. then it's a 2-1 win.
Yeah. Or you can flip something, you can make something happen, there's a way around it, but it was a stubbornness of Rock versus the stubbornness of the crowd. And they just snatched his 2 very beatable rounds by Swamp, by the way.
Yes. A whole battle of beatable rounds by Swamp, in all honesty. Like there were levels that were shown here. You can say that Swamp won that battle in the room.
Yeah.
But you can't say when you watch it back that Swamp won anything from that battle.
And like, hey man, capitalism, right? Any way to make a dollar. I think that Rock didn't have his best material as well. I felt like the stuff that was working in the first,
it was front loaded,
and then the second it was more of the same. There's a lot of like Swamp name flips, and too many name flips. They can wear people out a bit. Connect with this. My knife connect with Swamp like the Mississippi. It's like, okay, like what? Like because things connect to swamps. Like
lots of things connect to swamps.
Like what? Like what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I gave that 2-1 to Swamp, and as far as I'm concerned, earned.
Well, and see, this is one of those things now where looking at Swamp's career, you could say he's got W's in the room. He's got W's against Twerk and Tay-Rock. But then when you look at it, you go, yeah, okay, but Twerk choked for 2 rounds and gave him to Swamp, and Tay-Rock shit on eating raccoons for 2 rounds in North Carolina, and that kind of gives it to Swamp. So it's one of those situations where, kind of like we said earlier, Sythe Dropout and Soul the Flare can never say that they haven't battled on Summer Madness now. Swamp can say forever, I beat Twerk and I beat Tay-Rock. But at the same point in time, if you actually look at it, it's like, hey, but why did you?
And that's why, the W's, and we've hammered this all the time, is that W's and L's that just don't matter as much. It's the narrative. What happens. Yeah. It's like, aren't you curious to see how Rock follows this up? Like if he took an L there, I'm way more interested in seeing how he responds to losing a battle by insulting raccoon eating. Like that's the narrative. So, Daylight, again, ahead of his time, he knows how this shit works. And having the W's is not having a great resume. Like if people aren't fixated on what you're doing, then what does it matter? I don't know.
Yeah.
Definitely. I took maybe 2 L's this year, and I feel 1,000%. I feel amazing. So hopefully about to take 1 more by the end of the year.
And not only this was a culture shifting moment for people regarding food, because now all of us in the community, 1 point however million, watched this battle and went, there's this many people that are upset about him shitting on raccoon meat. Maybe I want to try it. Maybe if they are acting like this, maybe it's kind of good.
And imagine it's expensive.
Well, it depends. I mean, you could probably get it off the road.
In the post-apocalypse, this battle is going to look totally different, for real. when we're out there scavenging for scraps, and small woodland critters become a main source of sustenance and metabolization, this battle is just going to age beautifully.
I've worked with 3 raccoons. Shout out to Rakin, Kuna, and Copper, because they're the absolute best. And I would never eat a raccoon. They're fantastic little critters.
Good friends. Good friends. Get your rabies shots, everybody. Let's keep going.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I don't give a fuck about the time for this episode. Okay. Let's just go. This is a big event, big show.
Fire. I love it. The absurdity, like, we're just laughing. Like, you can't. Like, what the fuck? Where am I? What universe is this?
Yeah,
like, this shit is happening. Very distracting. So, Sythe versus JC.
Yep.
JC's been asking for this battle for a long time. He looks weird. We're going to talk about battles and the way they look, because that is a huge...
It's important. It's huge. Thought it was Sythe versus Kid Slade for a brief moment in time.
Oof. Ellipsis said he looks like a highlighter. He came dressed as a highlighter. Like, and man, your teeth, I don't know, something about your teeth. It's not, it looks weird. Maybe some braces, Invisalign. I don't know what it is. I hate to be that guy. What are we doing here? Insulting people, the way people dress, the way people's faces look. It looks fucking weird. It looks fucking weird, man.
Well, hey, here's the thing about it. It's not like people haven't been saying this about JC's teeth for the last year and a half.
Yeah.
You just won $100,000, buddy.
Yeah. Fix it up.
Just, invest a little bit into your oral hygiene. What's going on there?
We have this feeling, this vibe of JC from JC versus Chilla, where he's just this extremely expressive, together, eloquent, heavy writing, a performer. Like, this guy is I really am a big JC fan. And, Foreman talked about this too. It's like, sometimes when you tell people that they're a really great writer, it hurts their writing, because they don't I don't know what the fuck it is, but his look was not for the magnitude of this battle that he's been looking for so long. His look didn't look like he put as much effort into it. And then the bars, it was just like, man, I don't know. People who are gunning for matches for a long time, and then
I was literally just about to ask you what you're about to say. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's it. Please take it away.
I was going to say, how many battles have you seen over the course of time that you've been watching battles where somebody has been asking and gunning for someone for feels like ever? They get it. They go into it. How many have you seen where they actually are blow them away?
Nope. Haven't seen it.
Never seen it.
I haven't seen it. It's mid.
Right. If you have somebody in mind, if you have them locked in your sights and you've been asking for this battle forever, one would assume that you have material written, like great material written.
Yep.
And that's why you want that battle.
Nope.
I didn't think that at all.
Nope. And what is it? Is it like, well, I can't wait to talk to this person's soul and expose them for the trash human being that they are?
That's what this was.
That's going to get in the way of being entertaining, if that's your goal.
That's exactly what this was. If your goal is to not win the battle, if your goal is just so that people see what you have to say about said person, you succeeded. But if your goal was to convince that entire room and convince everybody watching battles that is what Sythe is like, he gains more fans by whooping JC's ass than he loses learning about what JC has to say about him.
Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, 100%.
If you can wrap up an angle in some really amazing wordplay and punchlines like Soul or jerking off soul this whole episode, but like, you know, there are people out there who can really like weave shit together and tell a story and punch with it. And that's an extremely rare trait. But if you're not doing that, if you're just fucking real talking somebody to death, like it is boring. Battle rap fans don't care.
Yeah.
Serious Jones gets booked. People don't care.
100%.
Sorry. Yeah. Same thing again with Tay-Rock and Swamp, where when you're doing your whole round and fucking nothing's hitting and it looks like you're treading water or you're trying to fucking you know, climb up a mudslide, that energy's going somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's not going to you. It's going to Sue Surf.
Yeah. And that's somebody currently that you don't want to be giving that to.
Nope.
Because he is on a tear right now. I don't know if it's Adderall fueled or what it is, but his memory is back. He hasn't really choked since Lux or 40. I guess 40 bars was after Lux. Ever since he's been on this spree, he's doing what Suge is doing currently as well.
Yeah, I think that this is maybe not his best performance, considering the three performances he had last year. I think I'm starting to see a little. I don't know. I felt like his second and third round were not as electric as his first, and maybe that's just a byproduct of, like you said, front loading. You know, his first is so electric, is so incredible that he doesn't need to have a second and a third. And that's kind of how it feels too. It's like, man, JC's not doing himself any favors, and Sue Surf is beating the crap out of him. Like these next two rounds, he's saying he cut himself short. He just cuts just short. It's just like, man, you know,
yeah,
fair. You're winning like pretty handily. So maybe you don't need to be, this doesn't need to be the craziest battle performance of your life. I don't know.
It's one of those situations. It's a tough thing overall to understand, like Sue Surf's position in this, right? I mean, it's a battle that he never wanted to do in the first place because he thought always that he could beat JC handily. First round happens and he sees what JC does. He does what he does. And at that point, it's like, I don't need to have a second and third, like you were saying. He probably front loaded it on purpose for that reason.
Yeah, that's where it's won. And you can like try. I know there are JC fans out there who are trying to follow, and there was a lot of praise for him on Twitter, like, oh, yo, JC's cooking, he's saying some real shit. But the truth of the matter is, in battle rap, how you're going to judge things is by consensus, and the consensus was not feeling it. Consensus was not hitting. It may have been some really, really great real talk. He may have had little moments here and there, but on the whole, it was just not enough to beat Surf. You know,
yeah.
And ended up being a body bag.
And it's one of those things too, where if JC was purposely sacrificing that round, right? Like we've talked about, you only need 2 to win. So maybe he's got 2 unbelievable rounds that are crazy that he's like, yeah, I think that these are going to win. And he's like, I don't need that first. And I'm going to use the first to say this stuff about Surf and how shitty he is. And then maybe that makes the second and third look even better.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that at all.
No. And strategizing like that is so dangerous too, because you don't know how much momentum you're going to lose for the subsequent rounds. The crowd wants you to succeed. They want you to turn it around. They want to see a dynamic of this person's hugely in the lead, and then this person's hugely in the lead. Like they love that. There's no favoritism here. We want to see really great performances where we can't tell who the winner is. But if you're playing around with that shit, it's just.
I would say that that's kind of where Easy and Cal had the most competitive in a positive way battle of the night for at least the first 2 rounds, because Cal has a crazy first round, Easy has a crazy second round, and then consensus is that Easy won the third. But
yeah, I think that's about right. That was kind of tough too. That was a tough one to take a look at. I think. Oh, what's up? What's up, G?
A1, what's good, bro?
Detroit Red Wings in the house. Get out of the house, I say. Don't like Detroit here. Sorry. Or Calgary or Edmonton. Sorry. None of that. Yeah. Cal and Easy, I mean, we can put Surf and JC aside. It's done. But Cal and Easy was a lot more competitive, a lot closer. And like you said, the back and forth was way more engaging, way more exciting. Cal had some really dope lines. But he was rapping really well too. I feel like Cal does shit where he's really going to come across as a rapper, which is, at that level, especially too, I think it buys you a lot when you're on the big stage and you're actually putting shit together that has a flow. I think it buys you a little bit more too. Buys you a little bit more connection.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, he also paired saying some absolutely great stuff with doubling down on a really weird and
I feel like R. Kelly, the way that I've been fucking these kids. Why would you say that? Ever?
Yeah.
Why would you say that? Ever? My daughter's fine. My daughter is fine. Go look at her on Instagram.
Yeah.
Why?
We were talking 2 things that happened in the same battle. That, like,
are you trying to?
A1 said the crowd shouldn't try to force a narrative. I agree. You as a battler, you should understand the narrative that you're painting for yourself with the stuff that you're saying.
I thought Rock would have a better luck insulting raccoon meat in Carolina than this working. Surely.
Yeah. Literally, like, imagine that. Those 2 strategies working the complete opposite way than one would expect. So it was that was a very strange thing to say. Needless to say, I think that you can add Cal didn't do it to John's diss to Easy, because I don't think that Cal beat him.
Yeah, he totally could have. I felt like this is the most mortal I've seen Easy. I know that people were gassing that Formula One. That's why my Formula One's white people is going back and forth. I just like, man, it's just the most basic fucking shit. And for somebody, when we talk about that Easy chess, am I fucking imagining how good it was? But you set a standard of like crazy, levels of entendres and like cool shit and wordplay and rapping. You set that standard a year ago, and this guy is a shadow of that guy.
Yeah.
I don't see it at all. How are those the same people? I'm not interested in anything you're saying until the second round and maybe the third round a little bit. But like, man, like Cal, I think, left the door open. He opened the door for him. And it's just like, man, what does it take to really connect with the crowd?
Yeah. This was a roller coaster of an event.
For real. Super entertaining. So many moments. Like, I had a lot of fun. It was a great event. But yeah, there was a lot of disconnect in trying to reach a crowd that people said was a very hostile crowd. But I don't believe that at all. I think Daylight nailed it. He's just like, these people, they can tell when you're fucking talking bullshit and they want to hear some good shit. They want to hear some crazy shit.
I've seen more hostile crowds.
Sure.
And I've seen crowds that you can talk shit about the culture of the place that you're in, and crowds not really give a shit. And we're talking about a crowd that isn't hostile. They're just defending what they think is good. Whether that's bars or eating raccoons.
It's, you got to know there's going to be some sort of back and forth with the audience, but they are part of the battle. They are a component of the battle that you have to account for. And shouts out to Shug for getting it done, K-Rock and Surf for doing it in the first rounds of their battles.
And Bourbon Hollow, I guess, too.
Yeah, and Bourbon Hollow, to a degree, for sure. But man, it was a crazy event. It was a whirlwind. For real, this is going to be a topic for discussion for quite a while. So I'm sure that we'll be back on it. But now that we're back, the Bodycast is back. Expect to see us every week on Sunday. We're both dealing with jet lag, but we'll figure it out. We'll be 100% next week. We're gonna have a great show for you. We got a bunch of new things, additions. The return of Battle of the Week, in which me and Pat discuss our selections for best Battle of the Week, and other secrets and surprises that will make the show just that much better.
I love it.
Yeah, we totally mentioned that. Shouts out to A1. Shouts out to everybody in Canada, the UK, Africa, around the world watching. We love you. Appreciate your support. What was I going to say? If you like this video with the little thumbs up, that means you're cool. So I didn't know if you knew that, but if it's blue, you should check and see if it's blue. If it's blue, that means you're cool. If it's not blue, you can press it, and then you'll be cool. And share it with your friends. Let them all know. Pat, you got anything to plug? Just for fun.
Just if you're wanting to see my battle from Apex over in England a couple weeks ago, it's up on the Patreon. The rough film version, the fully edited version isn't up just yet, but you can go check it out there. A lot of people saying it was Battle of the Night, which is crazy considering Arc and Moke was fantastic, and Breezy and O'Shea was phenomenal. So
super cool.
But the consensus was that Biz and I had performance of the night, so definitely go check that out. And and I also I don't know, we might talk about it next week, but I guess I'll also plug that I'll be on Go to 8 next month.
Gods of the Arena.
Gods of the Arena 8 for iBattle. So November
voiceover work.
November 12th and 13th, I think, is what it is. So headlined by Bizzo Bond and Appa and Louis Valentine and Prep on day 2. So
fascinating. It's a big card. And it's another big look. And our guy is gonna fucking smash it. Represent Canada, represent the Glock. You know how we do. And and shouts out to everybody tuning in. We will see you next week. Bong bong. Wait, watch, I can do a thing. Thanks for watching. And then, you know what we can do is leave this up for a bit, and then I'll put little squares in the thing afterwards that says "Watch the last Bodycast" or "Watch this AMA," and then right now it's going to be up there right now, but it's not right now, but it will be up there. Man, I'm learning so much.